Hello everybody, this is David. Welcome back to my channel. Well, in this video I want to take a look at a very sensitive topic, and that topic is Christianity the white man's religion? Is Christianity the white man's religion? Now I'm going to be basing this video on the work of Dr H C Felder, who is a black American and has done a lot of work in this area, a lot of research, and he is a voice to his own black community, mostly in America. So this video is based on the work that he's done. Now, it's true to say that there is a growing segment of the black community that have rejected Christianity because they believe it's not compatible with their heritage. They believe that its roots within the black community is based on slavery and should be rejected. And this is the kind of thing that they say. Christians kidnapped our ancestors from Africa and brought them over to America as slaves, then indoctrinated them with the religion of the conquerors. They forced our ancestors to accept Christianity because it served the interests of those in power. Now, as part of this idea is the belief that somehow the God of the Bible himself is racist and has nothing to offer people of colour. Some would even say that he is the cause of racism, and racism serves as a foundation of Christianity. You may have heard these things before. Now, how are we going to answer this? Well, let's have a look, shall we? These ideas, the idea that Christianity is the white man's religion, is based on an Americanized or Eurocentric view of Christianity. But Christianity is way bigger than America or Europe. Now, there are a few reasons to reject the idea that Christianity is the white man's religion. So if you're ready, let's have a look, shall we? Firstly, let's have a look at the historical case. The view that Christianity is the white man's religion is based on a belief that the Jews in the Bible were white. Now, there is no historical or biblical ground upon which to base these conclusions. When we examine the historical roots of the Jewish nation, we see that they were not white. This is based on the facts that, firstly, Abraham, the founder of the nation, was from Ur, which is in modern-day Iraq. This area was the location of Babylon, which was originally settled by Nimrod, the son of Cush, who was African. The area of Cush includes the present-day areas of Sudan, Ethiopia, and southern Egypt. Now, secondly, the Jews intermarried with the Egyptians during the 400 years of captivity. There was not yet any prohibition against marrying outside of their ethnic group. Thirdly, the Bible states that Israel left Egypt with an ethnically diverse group of people. As we read in the book of Exodus chapter 12 verse 38, which says, "A mixed multitude also went up with them." Now, according to the Wycliffe Bible commentary, this mixed multitude refers to Egyptians and probably other nationalities who had married Hebrews. Dr. J. Daniel Hayes explains it is almost certain that a mixed multitude of foreigners in Egypt would also include Cushites, in other words, black people. Fourthly, 2 of the 12 tribes of Israel were African. While in Egypt, Joseph married Asenath, the daughter of Potipharah, priest of On, as we read in the book of Genesis chapter 41 verse 50. Joseph had 2 sons by her, Manasseh and Ephraim, as we read in Genesis chapter 41 verses 51 to 52. And they became 2 of the 12 tribes of Israel, as we read in the book of Numbers chapter 13 verses 4 to 15. Okay, let's have a look at the numbers. Most Christians today are not white. It's true. According to Pew Research, there are an estimated 70 million Christians in China alone. In 10 combined African countries in sub-Saharan Africa, the population of Christians is over 377 million. 10 combined countries in the Asia-Pacific area have a Christian population of 258 million. This statistic compares to the, say, 200 million Christians in America, 60 million, if we can say they're all Christians, in the UK. So the idea then that Christianity is a white religion is statistically false. All cultures and nations find the Bible relevant to them and their culture. Thirdly, let's have a look at the idea that Jesus himself was not white. There's a false assumption that Jesus was white. We have already established that the Jews were not white, and since Jesus was a Jew, there is certainly no reason to believe that Jesus had blonde hair and blue eyes, as many white Christians have depicted him. The white Jesus we are familiar with is a European invention. The whitening of Jesus happened as a process to redefine the biblical Jesus in European terms, make him look white. The pictures of Christ had to be as far removed as possible from anything that could suggest darkness or blackness. The result was a Renaissance image of Christ that recorded his transformation from Semitic, that's dark, to Aryan, that is light. His dark hair and beard evolving into the colour of sunshine, and his dark eyes magically taking on the colour of the sky, from which he descended and to which he returned. Fourthly, it's true to say that black people have always been part of the church. From the very beginning, Christianity did not initially come to Africa via the slave masters. Africa had a large Christian population that goes back to the very beginning of Christianity itself. In the book of Acts, we see how the first non-Jew convert was an Ethiopian eunuch who was the treasurer for Queen Candace, Queen of the Ethiopians, as we read in the book of Acts chapter 8. Now God even performed a miracle to allow Philip to share the gospel with him, after which he was converted and was baptized. Now tradition has it that this same eunuch brought back the gospel to his African nation, became a bishop in the church there, and preached the gospel until he was martyred for his faith. Tradition also has it that he shared the gospel with his queen, who also converted to Christianity. Now it's important to realise that the church actually began at Pentecost, when the Apostle Peter addressed the crowd of Jews who were in Jerusalem to celebrate Pentecost. Each person there heard the gospel message in their own language, according to the book of Acts chapter 2, verses 8-11. So various racial and ethnic backgrounds were represented. Let's take a look at this passage. One of the verses reads, "And how is it that we each hear them in our own language to which we were born? Parthians and Medes and Elamites and residents of Mesopotamia, Judea and Cappadocia, Pontus and Asia, Phrygia and Pamphylia, Egypt and the districts of Libya around Cyrene, and visitors from Rome, both Jews and proselytes," that's converted people, "Cretans and Arabs, we hear them in our own languages speaking of the mighty deeds of God." Now let's have a look to see where those places are today and where those people were from. So firstly, Parthians correspond roughly to modern Iran. Medes are Indo-European speaking people appearing in the highland area of northwest Iran. Elamites, as we discussed earlier, they are regarded as black. The region today corresponds to southwest Iran. Mesopotamia, much of it is included in Iraq, but some of it's in Syria and a small part of Turkey. Cappadocia is modern-day Turkey. Phrygia is an area in western Turkey. Pamphylia is a coastal region on the southern shore of Asia Minor, that is modern-day Turkey. And of course, Cyrene is Africa. So Cretans are the inhabitants of the Greek island of Crete. And of course, there's the Arabs, which is present-day Saudi Arabia, Yemen, Kuwait, Qatar, Oman, Muscat, and Aden. So from this diverse group, those who accepted his message were baptized, and about 3,000 of them were added to their number that day, as we read in the book of Acts chapter 2, verse 41. So the first Christians were representative of the entire known world at the time, including Africa. Let's look at the martyrdom of the African Christians. Christianity thrived in Africa during the early centuries of the faith. And by the year 200 AD, there were many local churches in Egypt. In fact, some of the early church fathers were African themselves. There are stories also of African Christians being martyred as early as the year 180 AD from rural areas around Carthage, which is present-day Tunis in North Africa. This demonstrates that Christianity had not only spread all over the north coast of Africa, but was also strong in the rural areas. Now, many of these Christians were martyred for refusing to recognize the Roman emperor as God, and it cost them their lives. Now, at the end of the 3rd century AD, Northern Africa was one of perhaps only 3 places in the world where Christians were in the majority. To the south, Nubia, which is Sudan, and Ethiopia were 2 countries in the ancient world that was converted to Christianity without Roman rule or influence. So the influence of Christianity in Africa is demonstrated by the discovery in 1961 when Polish archaeologists excavated Faris Cathedral, an amazing place. The cathedral was decorated with 169 magnificent paintings of dark-skinned Nubian kings, queens and bishops, and biblical figures and saints. We have written records from Christian Nubia containing religious texts that includes the Gospel, lives of the saints, and other liturgical documents. So the Coptic and Ethiopian Christians today, Coptic Christians in Egypt, they trace their origins back to the Apostle Mark, who was the first apostle of Egypt and was martyred for his faith as recorded by the church historian Eusebius, writing in 324 AD. Now, this is also supported in the Acts of Mark, written around 300 or 400 AD. Although vigorously persecuted for their faith, this did not stop the growth of Christianity among the early African church. In Egypt, as in North Africa, a mass turning away from the old religion towards Christianity seems to have begun in the middle of the 3rd century and to have been virtually complete by 400. Now, unfortunately, that was all wiped out, or most of it was wiped out, by the rise of Islam in the 7th century. Now, notably, Christians formed a majority in Egypt until the 10th century. Now, the eventual decline of Christianity was a gradual process that occurred with the increased migration of Arabs and Islam into the area, as I said. So how should we think rightly about Christianity and those that have abused Christianity? Yes, it is true that there have been white Christians who have sullied the Christian faith and have used it for their own perverted purposes. Now, we could say that of any major world religion. In fact, we can also say that about atheism and scientism, which have also taught the inferiority of Africans or black people. What we must do is distinguish between Christians and Christianity. Christianity is not what Christians do, but what Christ did and what the Bible teaches. So we shouldn't blame Christianity for something that someone does that which goes against the teachings of Christ and the Bible. We shouldn't blame Christianity because someone twists and manipulates the Bible to suit their own evil intents. Instead, blame those who do the twisting, not the thing that they twisted. Christ died for everyone. We are all equal at the foot of the cross, as the Apostle Paul wrote in the book of Galatians chapter 3 verses 26 to 29. For you are all sons of God through faith in Christ Jesus. For all of you who were baptized into Christ have clothed yourselves with Christ. There is neither Jew nor Greek, there is neither slave nor free man, there is neither male nor female, for you are all one in Christ Jesus. And if you belong to Christ, then you are Abraham's descendants, heirs according to the promise. So not only is Christianity compatible with black heritage, it is your heritage. If you're a black man, it is their heritage. Christianity got to Africa way before the white man took it there. So I want to thank you for joining me in this video, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.